Xavier. How you doing?
Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and definitely appreciate everything you bring to the table since I've met you and all your great connections, and just thinking of me for all your business. So thank you so much. It's very easy to refer you because you're a very smart guy. You're a very ethical guy. I like the fact that when your company, you try to save as much of the items that instead of junking them, if you can put them to good use, you do. And I really appreciate that about you in protecting our environment and helping people and stuff. And I know you also have an organization that you're starting, so that you can give back to the community. And so I just think it's great. Really enjoyed working with you so far, and looking forward to your trashy stories.
I'm so glad that you invited me to be on Real Estate Hell with Scott Nell. I feel so lucky and fortunate to have met you. And ever since day one, Scott, when I first met you at the Snag Affinity meeting, you were just so welcoming to me and so nice. And little did I know that you would become such a great friend to me. And I appreciate everything you have done for me as well, Scott. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And so tell us about your company and how it started and everything. You're the owner of LA Trash Junkers, and you're a Marine also, aren't you?
Correct. I did 5 years in the Marine Corps as an F-18 mechanic. And yeah, so it was good times in the Marines. It really helped me learn leadership, and I got to travel and see some great places. So I always appreciate my time in the Marine Corps. And it was thanks to the Marine Corps that when I got out, I was able to work as an aerospace technician. So I was like rebuilding aircraft parts, valves, and then eventually I ended up working on space flight hardware, where I did the functional testing, the leak checks, and the final assemblies for these rocket structures. So I had a great time doing that, but eventually I had always wanted to have my own business, and I saw a YouTube video about junk removal, and I thought to myself, I can do that. And that was pretty much all my business planning that I did. And luckily my wife, she supported me, and she let me sell our house, and we used the proceeds to buy the dump truck and start the business. So that's essentially a quick little rundown on the history of LA Trash Junkers.
Wow, those are stories I never heard before. That's fantastic. And how is it going for you? How many years has it been?
We just hit our 4th year in business in June, so we're walking now, and we're headed to the 5th year. And I can honestly say that I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Things have stabilized. It's not a crazy roller coaster ride anymore, but it's really all due to my networking and the great networking friends such as yourself that I have met along the way.
Well, it's my pleasure. Absolutely. I like helping out nice people. So I'm sure you must have some great real estate hell trash stories. So why don't you give us one of them?
So when I was thinking about which stories I would share today with you, the one that came to mind was my first hoarding situation. And I think I was maybe about 8 months into my business, and we got the phone call and we showed up, and it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. And you may think that 2-bedroom, 1 bath isn't that big, but this apartment was full. And the family brought me in, and the family was going through the items, bagging up everything, and they were telling me that that pile over there is the trash pile. So whatever's there, you can haul away. So we're there suited up in our Tyvek suits. We're trudging through the front living room of this apartment, and the whole carpet is a giant kitty litter floor. They had a cat, and they just kept adding cat litter to the carpet. So this is the condition of this apartment. It was pretty bad, and not too bad for my first experience, right? But the crazy part about this
Oh my
story.
God! So how? I mean,
The crazy part about this story is that the family, they're bagging up everything and they're telling me that's the stuff that's trash. So, we load up the truck and we dump the truck and I'm done for the day. And I get a call from the family and they're like, we can't find our aunt. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't find your aunt? When I left, she was there waving goodbye to me. And they're like, no, no, no. Our aunt's ashes. We can't find our aunt's ashes. And my heart dropped. I was like, I'm sorry. I just took the trash pile, those items that you told me to take. I didn't see any ashes. And about 15 minutes after I hung up with them, they called me back and they're like, we found her. We found our aunt. So you can imagine how far my heart fell when I heard them say that they couldn't find the ashes.
You took our aunt. That's very funny. So what was I guess it wasn't in an urn or anything. So where were the ashes?
So I guess when they received the ashes back from the crematorium, it was just like in a cardboard cylinder inside of like a cardboard box. So it was very like an unassuming package, but I think they eventually found the ashes in the back of a closet. Recently, I completed a commercial cleanout for this property that I received from a property manager that I've done several jobs for. This property ended up becoming the largest cleanout that LA Trash Junkers has done. The property was just trash. It seems like they went through all the merchandise that was left on the shelves and they tore it all apart and it was just everywhere. The front offices were hoarded out with garbage. All the offices in the front were just filled about calf high with just old garbage containers of food. Luckily, they were empty, but they were still kind of bad. But at the end of the day, we ended up hauling away 20 tons of garbage and about 7 tons of scrap metal from this commercial cleanout.
How many tons of metal?
About 6 tons of metal and 20 tons of garbage.
Wow. How do you guys charge, by the way?
We charge, we try to keep it very consistent and simple, where it's how many truckloads, and then I have a labor rate as well. Depending on the difficulty of the job, if hoarding situations, if there's hazardous situations, then we'll have extra fees. But the basics are how many trucks it takes me to complete the clean out and how much labor I have to bring in to get the job done quickly.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So 20 tons of garbage. Put a perspective in that for people's heads. So what would you expect to see to get 20 tons of garbage?
20 tons of garbage, it adds up fast. The hard part about my job is doing the estimates, because it's hard to really imagine how many truckloads are in each room in the whole property. But essentially our truck, it's an 18 cubic yard dump truck. And I have experience working at UPS, so I know how to load the trailers. I did that for 2 years. And I also grew up playing Tetris, so my loading skills, I can really pack that truck efficiently. And even with my efficiency, we still did the 20 tons of garbage, which was about 12 full truckloads.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Do you ever, so you've worked with hoarders and whatnot. Any other really quote unquote special people that you've worked with that have been very challenging?
A lot of my challenging jobs were in the beginning of when I first started the business, because that's when, you're learning a new industry. And I remember this one job that it took us 8 hours to empty out this garage. And we were pulling out tools. The garage had to have at least like 3 full truckloads worth of stuff. And about halfway into the garage, we started finding the remains of mummified, I think it was a cat or maybe a possum, but there were mummified animals scattered throughout that garage. That was probably the most physically demanding job, one of the most physically demanding jobs that I've done, but most definitely one of the top challenging jobs was just pulling out all that material from that garage and coming across those poor little critters.
So how many were in there? I mean, what was it like, a mausoleum?
There was about 3 of them, but I mean, they were already like leather. They were just, yeah, but poor little animals. It made me feel a little sad when I came across them.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And so, but did it cause it to smell, or it got to the point where they're just so dry, there's not even any smell?
Yeah, there was no smell at that point. Luckily, I guess they had been there for years or so because there was no smell. They were just stiff.
I was under my rental once, and actually I had one of our guys go under there, and he brought out pictures, and it was of there's some possums that had been under there, and so they must have died naturally because we found a hole, which is why we wanted to have them go under. So I said, but let's make sure they're out first, and so they go underneath, and these things, the skeletons of them and everything, it looked like some sort of like a weird like dinosaur or something. It was funky looking, in the claws and everything. And then we found these holes that they would burrow into, and I said, clean this up and seal it. I don't want any of these. I don't know how that these animals could have died under there, and that no one knew. So I'm wondering, that must have been from a long time ago. Because when an animal dies in your place, it's nasty. Hey, so tell us about. I know you have some charities and some causes, or a charity or cause that's close to your heart. I'd love to wrap it up with something that we can highlight and spotlight for you. And so, why don't you share what's on your heart?
The charity work that is closest to my heart right now is actually a online thrift store called the Hodgepodge LA that my wife Megan and myself opened up together. And so my wife Megan, she had been born with a liver disease as a baby, and we knew that eventually she would need a liver transplant, which she received in 2017. And so she actually had to go to Jacksonville, Florida for a whole year. And she went with her mom, who acted as a caretaker. And I stayed behind working, keeping the health insurance going. But she received the transplant, and we were fortunate enough that she was able to receive it. And so now what we're doing with the Hodgepodge LA is whenever we do cleanouts with LA trash junkers, items from clean homes that we can resell, we're reselling them through the Hodgepodge LA, and we're essentially turning trash into cash and helping families that are going through the transplant process. So we just filed our LLC paperwork about 2 months ago for the Hodgepodge LA, and my wife Megan is already working on figuring out who the family is that we're going to be able to help out this year. So we're really excited for the future of the Hodgepodge LA and to see how many families we're going to be able to help.
I love it. I absolutely love it. What's great is not only are you helping the environment and helping other communities, you're helping people who, otherwise might, without that kind of support, who knows what would happen. So that's beautiful. I love that you're doing that, man.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that my work allows me to be able to help out people so easily. And I really believe in giving back. There's other nonprofits that we support, like MAPS Charities and the Pasadena Village and the Convalescent Aid Society. And I also work with Oath to Country Foundation, where we help first responders and law enforcement and military veterans whose homes are falling into disarray. So I volunteer the truck, and I haul away any trash that comes out from these cleanouts at no cost to the veteran or to the foundation. So I'm just happy that I'm able to give back to the community and really help out people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.